Hello. Okay, I love this show. It's so powerful. It's so impactful. It shows a family, shows friends. Like when you guys first signed on, and how was it with the reaction? How like when you guys had the series, what was the reaction? Like everyone loves it. So how did you feel about the reaction from the audience and from kids?
Well, I on social media, it's just been a love fest, and for me, that's been something new, and just to have people say things like "You've changed my life," "You've saved my life," that's some pretty deep stuff.
Yeah.
It makes us feel awfully good and
There
proud.
was kind of this large gap of time between when we were all cast and read the first episode and then when it eventually came on the air, right? And I feel like from the very beginning, we all knew the show was definitely unique and powerful. But the fact that once it came on the air, there was this overwhelming positive energy for the show and this love that I feel like we have for the show and a lot of fans do is crazy.
This show has broken so many milestones in Disney Channel history. It showcased not only a multicultural family of mixed like and the Asians, yay. Not only that, but it also showcased LGBT for the first time, a gay teenager. It also showcased a story about a mother and then the sister being the mother. It showcased so many things that are milestones for children that's growing up today. What story hit you the most when you guys were reading all these things that you guys were breaking so many milestones? What story really hit you the most?
For me, something that I loved was Andy's family dynamic. She has not only two parents, but four. I mean, come on! And I have so many friends that have multiple parents and don't just have the perfect mom and dad. They have a bunch of parents out there, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think it's portrayed as such a bad thing to have parents who are divorced or something like that, but no, you can still have a loving family dynamic no matter how many parents you have. If you only have one, if you have zero, if you have two, no matter how many. I think it's amazing to show all the kids out there with a different family dynamic than what seems to be normal, that it's okay and that it's beautiful.
Two of my favorite. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say two of my favorite episodes was one was the one about Chinese New Year, just to to let people know
The
what
dumplings.
celebrations are like in Chinese American families.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I loved was when they depicted Jonah as having some anxiety, and being able to talk about that to the little blurbs they did afterwards. I felt like that was so helpful to kids out there, because I know that when I was young, I had some anxiety, and you can feel awfully alone. So I loved that they added that.
Definitely. I don't know if there's one specific storyline that really touched me more than any of the others, but I feel like this idea that Andi Mack shows that it's okay not to be the cookie cutter version of what you think is normal and right. You know, there are so many different families and different friends, and just that the show normalizes diversity. You know, that you don't have to be a certain thing or a person or look like something to be incredible.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool how everyone watching the show can see themselves on TV. Like earlier in Disney Channel, I feel like everyone couldn't see themselves on TV, but now I feel like every kind of person is represented in the show, and I think that's so special.
And I just gotta say, I mean, of course I identify with Bex's storyline. I gotta say it. But I really do feel like the coming out scene with Cyrus and Buffy is just next level. And I feel like that is the scene that people can watch that might have, certain insecurities of their own or prejudices of their own, and look at that scene and feel more empathetic and feel more humanity just by watching it alone, because I think it's perfectly well done. And that's the scene that gets me every
I just
want to
add that the acting in that scene was beyond. I was so proud of all of these
Josh?
guys.
Josh,
I'm talking about you, your favorite topic.
No, I was just waiting. I was waiting for an opportunity to come and hang out.
No, definitely. I was actually on set while Josh and Sophia shot that incredible scene, and there was just this energy in the air, this love and this support for one another and for you two, and I felt like it was definitely a very special moment for them, and for the cast and crew as a whole. It was just really
Everybody
powerful.
was crying in the cast and the crew.
It was,
Like,
it was
everybody.
emotionally rough.
I told
And then
Josh.
the next scene, I was like,
How am I gonna follow that?
I told Josh, I was like, okay, so we don't have to cry on each other's coverages just so we can save it for ours. And then I'm pretty sure he had his coverage first. And I'm such a hypocrite. I started bawling the second he started saying his lines, just because it was so emotional. And the fact that he was able to portray such a unique and realistic version of what kids go through every day. It was incredible. Yeah. So props to you, Joshua.
Props to you, Sol. I think one of the biggest things that made this so powerful and so exciting was the night before it, when we lived in the same apartment building at the time, which isn't happening this season. But we lived in the same apartment building, and the night before that scene, we like hung out, and it was so late when we finally went to bed. And we just prepared, and we talked about it, and we rehearsed it. And by the time that we had gotten there that day, I felt so ready, and I know that Sophia did as well. And I felt so glad that I had that moment to prepare with it with you. I'm so glad I had you. I know I'm touching your elbow. I'm sorry. It's weird.
we've been chatting.
Well, the show is known for its social impact. It's being honored. Congratulations on that. It's being honored for its social impact. What do you hope kids and even adults, like I watch the show religiously, but what do you hope that they would get from this show? What message?
The biggest message in the entire show is be yourself. You know, no one is you, and you are incredible in who you are, you know. And there's a lot of pressures in this world to be someone that you're not and to try to match what other people are. But just having this show give kids the confidence to be themselves I think is really the biggest message of all.
She said it. Yeah. Our show's all about respect, and it's all about loving one another and respecting one's differences and loving each other through those differences. No, go ahead.
I think what Andy Mack does a great job of learning the other side, learning somebody else's story. You know, there are no enemies in Andy Mack because we get to learn more about those characters, and it turns out that they are just as vulnerable, just as human as the people that we are introduced to as the heroes.
Like Amber.
Well, yeah,
Definitely.
At the beginning of the series, everyone is like, I hate Amber. Because she just seems like, you know, the mean girl. But throughout the series, and I think Emily can add on to this, she has so many more layers than you expect. And you see the reasons why she is like she is.
I've had multiple people be like, yeah, Amber's my favorite character. And I'm like, at first you're like, what? And then you're like, well, but if you think about it, like, these are kids that are misunderstood, you know, and they're one way because of maybe another thing that's happening in their lives. But just that there's no mean girl and nice girl. It's like everyone has these layers of both.
Yeah. In the first season, she's definitely more one-dimensional, and in season 2, you can definitely see that there's so much more going on in her life and in her head and how insecure she is. And every mean girl that you're ever going to meet has definitely more stuff going on than what you see.
Right. And I think that, you know, Andy Mack provides so many opportunities for kids and older folks to be able to relate, because I feel like as human beings, what we want is just to belong and to connect with one another. And so I think that's what our show accomplishes.
Lauren, yes, you go.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. Thank you.